Okay, welcome everybody back to Steve Talks Boxing X STBX, and we're finally here. We made it, people. The one we've all been waiting for: Fury versus Usyk this Saturday. Undisputed heavyweight titles for all the marbles. It's finally come round, and I'm delighted to be joined by Matt from the Counterpunch this week. Welcome, Matt, for coming on.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me.
No, brilliant. Thanks for joining me. Got lots to talk about. Obviously, massive fight. First question to you, Matt. We've only waited, 25 years since the last undisputed champion?
Yeah.
Can you wait until Saturday now?
You know what, Steve? I can't. I already find myself kind of getting involved in every single tweet that's been put out today, and I think...
Really?
You know, yeah. And
you've been busy then?
Don't tell my boss that, but I've been keeping a close eye on it, and obviously we haven't even had the grand arrivals yet, and Mr. Fury Senior has already caused a bit of commotion. So
yeah, and this is literally just day one. So
yeah,
obviously we're recording this bit behind, but obviously to our viewers, John Fury headbutts one of Usyk's team. Yeah, you couldn't make it up, could you? Really?
You couldn't. I mean, I think we're sort of John Fury goes, trouble seems to follow. But yeah, if you were looking for a headline on day one, you've certainly got it now, haven't you? Maybe not the headline we hoped for, but yeah, I mean, I just can't wait for Saturday night. It just can't come quickly for me.
Sure. And some people are putting on social media, how long will it take for John Fury to rip off his T-shirt? I think we're bound to see it this week, ain't we? At some stage, I think.
Yeah, I think he might be kept under lock and key for the next 24 hours. But come Wednesday in the press conference, I think we might see that, definitely. Yeah,
I think so anyway. I think I should get a place bets or something, or people maybe comment below what's the chances. I'll say a good 80-20 anyway. The tagline for this fight was Ring of Fire. Could they thought of anything better than that? Do you think, Matt?
It's not great, is it? I mean, I think you've got to take a bit of a step back with this one, and sometimes the tagline is done to help promote the fight. I mean, this one doesn't really need any promotion, does it? I think you could almost cancel fight week and just people would still buy it. People would still tune in. Yeah, but all I think of is that annoying song every time I hear Ring of Fire. I get
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm showing my age now.
Yeah, just going round and round in my head. But yeah, it's not the best. You could probably just have said undisputed though, and it would have worked. So I think, it doesn't take much selling this one.
Yeah. They could have called it some sort of undisputed, all the marbles, or maybe they needed some sort of global sort of name or tagline to it. And I guess maybe Ring of Fire could relate to, I don't know, everyone I guess around there. But I always think of you say Johnny Cash, I think of a bad curry night when I hear that anyway. So but yeah, each to their own. Going back to the fight itself, should we really be seeing Tyson Fury versus Daniel Dubois?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think there was a really good discussion actually, which got interrupted. I say discussion; it turned into a bit of an argument between Johnny Nelson and Barry Jones at the weekend.
Okay, yeah, I've not heard that.
Yeah, so I mean, I think Barry was erring on the side of what would be my opinion is that it was a low blow. Did Usyk make the most of it? Yes. Was it a full-on low blow? Probably not, but it was below the belt and below the line that the referee had pointed out pre-fight. Yes, I think it took longer than he needed. I think he was given longer than he needed, but I do think it was slightly low. And I think ultimately he dominated that fight, didn't he? It was an easy night to from apart from that kind of couple of minutes. So no, I think we should be seeing Fury versus Usyk.
Yeah, you think that was the right decision then? So
yeah, I think I think the only thing with that was, I think, even though I think it was a legitimate low blow, I think he was given about 4 to 5 minutes to recover. If he'd have only been given a couple of minutes to recover, then I think Dubois could have potentially jumped on him and had a bit more of an impact. Yeah. But I think he just took all the momentum out of anything that he could have done. And in the end, it was a comfortable win for Usyk.
Yeah, that's fair enough. How high do you think we're going to see Usyk's shorts and obviously groin protector? How high do you anticipate them to be come Saturday?
I don't think we'll see his belly button on show.
No,
I think they'll be high enough. They'll be definitely high enough to cover that. Yeah. It'll be interesting, won't it? Because Fury tends to wear his sort of guard quite high as well.
High anyway. Yeah, I was going to say that. So
yeah, so I think the referee, he might end up finding that the higher he pulls it, the referee will then he'll have to make it clear pre-fight, won't he, that because the guards are high, then anything on the belt is legal. it'll be interesting to see where it's at and what the referee's approach is pre-fight when they're doing the final talk in the ring.
Yeah, you're right in what you're saying. Both probably wear their shorts and guard high anyway, but as long as the referee makes it clear in pre-instructions where is a good shot and what's not a good shot, then obviously we don't hear them conversations though, unless I guess they may televise that bit maybe when the referee's there, so we may not know what's a good shot. Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, I think the decent referees tend to point. Obviously they look before they come to the ring, but they tend to make it quite clear. But I think that's maybe where some of the confusion arose last time, is because we hadn't heard that.
Exactly.
Yeah, we weren't quite sure. It did look a bit, it did look low to me. But the problem with technology is you can pause it and look at it from a million angles. It's like football, isn't it? And one angle will look as if it was fine, and one angle will look as if it's low.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say.
Let's just hope we're not talking about any controversy when the final bell rings on Saturday night.
Yeah. Hope we're not going to be something like that controversial. I was going to say, what did you make of Fury's cut and the delay in the fight in the first place? Because there's a lot of rumors saying, it was a bit intentional. And he's come into this in great shape now. So what would you make of that, Matt?
I mean, I think he looked in pretty good shape at the time, didn't he? I think had they not released the footage of it happening, I can understand people being I can understand people being generally, concerned about Fury pulling out full stop. And, we're recording this on Monday night. We've still got, a few days to go. And anything
don't say that, Matt, please.
Yeah, we'll just put a caveat on this just in case something happens. But no, I think, look, it was a genuine cut. It was, it was a genuine flailing elbow that seemed to do the damage. And I think the pleasing thing was, Steve, the announcement was made. Everybody was naturally disappointed. But within 24 hours, we had a new date, didn't we?
Yeah, something to work with.
Yeah, touch wood, we're now, 5 days away, hopefully. All fingers crossed that, nothing happens between now and Saturday that puts anything in jeopardy.
Sure. I was going to say, hopefully, they're both fighters are there now. So just so, like I said, wrap them up in bubble wrap. So
yeah, keep John Fury locked in a room and just let's get on with it.
Yeah, the last thing you want is Fury to go up and headbutt Usyk and get a cut or something like that. Not to John Fury's head, but for Usyk. And then, the fight's delayed again. So we're going to talk a bit about the money side of things.
Yeah.
Reports suggest that Fury's going to get 70% of the purse, which they roughly thought the total was going to be about $150 million, 116 million Great British pounds. That's not bad, is it, from one fight, is it, really?
It's not bad for a night's work, is it? I think I'd walk into the ring and fight Usyk for that amount of money, to be honest.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah, I think look, the heavyweights have always been paid well, haven't they? Throughout the years, there's it's been the one division that the eyes are always on, the casual fans always tune into the big fight, so they always make more money. That's accepted. Whether you prefer, the heavier fighters or the lighter weights, the heavyweights get the big money. Saudi Arabia has just propelled that to a new level. Yeah,
I was going to say, do you think Saudis, obviously, if that was a UK fight, probably not as much money? You think the Saudis, obviously, a lot of sweeteners there?
Honestly, without Saudi Arabia involvement, I just don't think we'd be seeing it full stop. Fury obviously priced, well, there's two sides to every story, but what was publicised was Fury priced himself out of it, back end of sort of 22, I think it was now. Saudis have come along. There's a massive paycheck for both men. It's not life-changing money for either of them at this stage, but, Fury's made some claim that he wants to be the first, £500 million fighter. It's a nice paycheck, and I guess you can't really turn down a fight when you're getting paid that amount of money.
Yeah. I think most of the guys on the Saudi cards, I think they're getting the paydays of their lives at the moment. To fight over there, so I guess it's good for them. Fury, a part of that contract, has to donate 1 million of his earnings to the Ukraine for its ongoing war against Russia. Do you think they would get that money just like the homeless did?
Let's just hope it's deducted before it's paid across.
Yeah, that could be the safe bet, couldn't it, really?
I'd like to think that it's whatever he receives is net of that donation. I won't make any more comment on the homeless situation, but I think he's made some spurious claims in the past that don't seem to have been followed through with. But I think yeah, I think on this occasion, I suspect the promoters or whoever is responsible for paying the money will make sure that's taken out before it's paid across.
Yeah, I think that is contract binding as well. Yeah. So it's an interesting one, though, isn't it? Obviously, Usyk's very passionate about Ukraine's, obviously fought in the army, so he's passionate about the cause then, and just to donate some of that money, and perhaps it's going to create awareness of what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, perhaps come Saturday night, make people a bit more aware of that, mixing a bit of politics with boxing there. So,
yeah, as you say, it's a political thing, but, not to say the war in Russia and Ukraine has been forgotten about, but there's other events taking place around the world that have kind of pushed it off the front pages, and, it's still an awful situation for everybody involved. So I guess any money that can be contributed to help the innocent people that, I know it'll go to the Ukraine side, but the innocent people that are involved on both sides.
Both sides, yeah.
Only a good thing, really.
That's right, yeah. Moving on to the mind games. I know we spoke a bit about, obviously, John Fury, but what can we expect mind games-wise from Tyson Fury? And will Usyk really care?
I think it's going to be very interesting, Steve, to see what approach Tyson takes over the next few days. I think he's been quite respectful over the last couple of weeks when he started to do it. He's come out of his camp and he started to do a few little media snippets. Usyk doesn't get drawn into it, does he? He doesn't converse in English. He can speak English very well, but he chooses to speak in Ukrainian. That makes it difficult to have a war of words with somebody. Yeah. And I think in the past, Fury's, he's won the mental battles against the likes of John T. Wilder, and he's disrupted him before he's entered the ring. That's just not going to work with Usyk. So it'll be really interesting to see whether he tries it or whether he's just simply respectful about him and acknowledges that, look, I've just got to do my talking in the ring.
Yeah. So you think he may lay off the mind games and the verbals a bit then towards him? Because obviously in the build-up, it was non-stop, wasn't it? The original, the name calling, everything out. It's pretty non-stop. You got, every time you went on social media, there was Tyson Fury calling Usyk a different name, or so. Yeah. But you think it may be a bit more restrained, quieter Fury?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of respect for Usyk. I think he does have a lot of respect for him. I think he thinks he'll win the fight, and rightfully so. He's confident in his own ability. But I think we'll see something from him, but I don't think it'll be to the level of intensity we've seen in previous fights. I think he'll probably try a bit of pushing. He'll probably try and impose his size, but I'm not sure we'll see the level of trash talk that we have done previously.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Usyk obviously has come through from cruiserweight and the serious champion at heavyweight. Did that surprise you at the time?
I think it surprised me how well he performed against Anthony Joshua. I don't think it surprised me that he's done well stepping up to heavyweight. I actually don't think the heavyweight division is that great outside of sort of, 2, 3, 4 fighters.
Yeah.
Wilder's obviously on the decline. You can argue all day long whether he was ever that great anyway. But obviously he has that sort of power. Joshua, I think if Usyk was fighting the Anthony Joshua of today, I think he'd probably lose.
Yeah.
I think he caught him at a time where his confidence had dipped a bit. He hadn't really recovered from that Ruiz defeat, despite having had some victories since that. And even though Joshua stepped up in the rematch, he still struggled with his engine. He's still gassed out.
Yeah.
And I think he did have Usyk in a lot more trouble in the second fight.
But also the fight.
Yeah, and I think it was round 9 or 10. He had a really, really good round, and then he just completely ran out of energy and had a really poor round the round after. It was a split decision, obviously, that one. So it doesn't surprise me. No, I think, we've seen cruiserweight step up in the past, and I think his ring intelligence is such that he just finds a way to really grind his opponents down, fight at a high intensity, tire them out, and then take advantage of it. So, no, I'm maybe surprised that he's done as well as he has in getting the belt.
Heavyweight, yeah. But you may blame that on a not so good heavyweight division then. So, because the last time we had the unification, you was talking about Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, and obviously Holyfield was moved up from cruiser to heavy as well, didn't he? So, so that you probably look at that division now and think, as a comparison to some of the names there, maybe bigger, tougher names, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and I think there are some top elite heavyweights. Fury is definitely still in amongst that. Joshua has got himself back amongst that. Usyk's up there. There's a lot of decent fighters beyond that, but there's nobody else that I really could say hand on heart is is an imminent champion. Other than obviously when the belt's fractured, somebody will pick up a belt. But yeah, I think he's done it at the right time, and I think it's no surprise that he's having success.
Yeah, I was going to say, come Saturday night, obviously the winner, there's no argument, is there, that they're the best heavyweight in the world, unless it's very controversial. But yeah, whoever wins Saturday, they're the best. Simple as that, isn't it, really? So
yeah, and as you say, I just hope that it's a clean victory for either fighter, and we're not sat talking Sunday morning about a dodgy split decision, some poor scorecards, something else that might happen that just leaves a bit of a sour taste. Hopefully somebody has the hand raised and we're not talking about a draw. Albeit that will make the rematch even more, even more interesting.
Controversial. Well, I was going to move on to that because Turki Al-Sheikh has already said about the rematch being in October.
Yeah,
and then he suggested Fury fighting AJ in the new year. Would you say His Excellency is borderline a Fury fan? Would you say? Or are we looking too much into this? Or are we?
No, I think he's very much a Fury fan. I think Fury's probably the one. I mean, Fury's opened the gates to Saudi Arabia. Whatever you think of him, he's negotiated a position with the Ngannou fight that's enabled everything else to follow. And I think His Excellency is full of praise for Tyson Fury. He doesn't hold back on that, but he's full of praise for everyone. But you're right. I think maybe getting ahead of himself a little bit in terms of that Joshua Fury fight.
Yeah,
I still think that could happen even if Fury loses because there's a lot of money to be made in that. Ideally, I'd love to see it at Wembley Stadium, but I think if it went to the cards and there was a really controversial decision, I just don't see it. I just don't think we'll see that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Usyk, we're going to talk a bit more about the actual fight itself now. Usyk's a southpaw. No one really likes fighting southpaws, but do you think Fury would be worried?
No, you're right. Nobody really likes fighting southpaws. I suppose the only thing I would say for Fury is he's quite adaptable. So, he can fight southpaw himself, and he has done in the past. So I think of all the people that Usyk's faced, he's somebody who can potentially, work with that and adapt to that. But yeah, it's the tricky characters, aren't they? The difficult people to fight, and I think people who's fought so far have found that difficult to cope with. And people point to the likes of the Warren fight for Fury. He did struggle a bit more in that, so that's the easy comparison to make. Albeit Usyk's, much better than Otto Wallen is.
Sure. Fury looks in great shape. I know we spoke about it before. Some people say he may be coming in too light for this fight. What's your thoughts on that?
I've probably got a couple of thoughts on this, Steve. I think firstly, we talk about mind games. I think that photo might be a little bit of mind games. I've seen the shot he's done with Queensbury today, and he doesn't look quite as thin as he does in that photo. So I'm not saying that's Photoshop, but perhaps a couple of days with a little bit less water or something before he took that
just
photo.
Holding your stomach a bit.
Holding your stomach a bit. Yeah, maybe trying to draw that comment from people that he's maybe lost too much weight. I think it'll be really interesting when he takes the scales on Friday to see where he weighs in. I still think he'll be relatively heavy. He'll be lighter than he was against Ngannou, and he absolutely needs to be. I think he's also mindful that I'm not sure, Fury's tactic of late, certainly against Wilder, has been to lean on his opponents to try and wear them out. I'm not sure he'll do that against. Well, he'll try, I'm sure, but I'm not sure he'll have much success against Usyk because of how quick and evasive he can be. So I think he probably knows he needs to come in a bit lighter. He knows it's going to be a high intensity fight, and I think you'll probably see Fury, working behind the jab a bit more in those early rounds.
Yeah, sure. And there's obviously that famous boxing saying, "A good big one beats a small little one." Yeah. So, what's your thoughts on that? Can we look into that too much? Because I thought the same when Usyk. Well, AJ then the champion against Usyk then. So I thought, well, AJ's he's big, he's good, he should beat Usyk, and that was the total opposite, really, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And I think, look, Fury is a better boxer than Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is more powerful and has a heavier punch than Tyson Fury. And Joshua couldn't put Usyk down. Joshua couldn't get him out there. So, yeah, Tyson Fury at his absolute best should beat Oleksandr Usyk. But, I just think that he's such a clever technical boxer that I think that big and small comparison just doesn't work in this particular scenario.
Sure. Going to the fight itself, I don't want your prediction just yet, Matt, but how do you see the fight going? What sort of tactics can you expect from both of the fighters?
I think, as I said previously, I think Usyk will set a really high pace in the early rounds. We've seen it, haven't we, in the past against Tony Bellew, for example. Bellew was ahead, perhaps even to the point he got stopped. He had a very good start to the fight, but he was made to work so hard by Usyk. And eventually, when he gassed, Usyk just took control and stopped him. I think he'll do the same with Fury. I think he'll find a way to get Fury throwing punches, missing. Usyk will want to fight on the inside. He'll want to get up close. He'll want to make Fury swing and miss and then counter him. I think the overhand left will probably see that quite a bit from Usyk. I think he'll also try and work to Fury's body when he gets the opportunity. As I said before, I think Fury will probably try and keep it a little bit more rangy in the early rounds, trying to pop off that jab that he's so good at and send a message to Usyk, maybe hopefully make Usyk feel a bit of his power. It's a difficult one to predict, isn't it? I think in an ideal world, Fury will try and impose his size on him, but I'm just not sure that works. So I think being a bit lighter, being a bit more nimble on his feet and working that jab could work for Fury. For Usyk, that body, catching Fury. Sometimes when Fury throws a punch, he kind of recoils in not the best way and he leaves himself a little bit open. So trying to work that counter, I think that's the sort of fight we see in the early rounds. And then it's who's still got the energy as we get to the halfway stage. Yeah.
Would it be too easy to say, if Fury's going to be just looking for the body shots? Would that be a too easy tactic? Obviously, Usyk would be aware of that. So is that too easy to say? Do you think too predictable?
Yeah, I think it'll be more than that. As I say, I think he will try and work the jab, but undoubtedly there's a lot of noise around Usyk in his body. So at some point, Fury's going to go looking for that shot. But I don't think he'll throw everything into that basket. I think he'll be quite smart in terms of how he approaches the fight. Yeah, because obviously, if you're throwing shots to the body, it does leave you open for, I don't know, overhand rights, lefts. So if he's going to commit to the body, maybe if he clenches and then hits the body, or holding and hitting the body, that could be a way forward for Fury just to get some sneaky shots in. He does that so well as well, the sort of the sneaky shots there. With regards to crunch time now, Matt, your prediction for the fight? Hit me with it. I'll probably change my mind at least 10 times, even in the last hour. Okay. So as I sit here right now, I think Usyk wins on points.
Oh, wow. That's a
Yeah, I only see this going two ways. I think Fury either stops him late, or I think Usyk gets the points decision. And as much as I'm completely writing off the performance against Ngannou, I think that was a completely out of sorts Fury who hadn't really trained, despite what he might say. It was evident that he was slow, ponderous, overweight. He looks in much better shape. It's the fight of his life. I think it'll be a great fight, but I just can't see past Usyk. He's come through so many opponents over the years. He can adapt so well. I just think Fury will get frustrated and Usyk will pick him off and he'll get... Yeah. I don't think it'll be a wide decision, but I think he'll win on points. Potentially split decision, but I would it's unanimous. Yeah.
So you're anticipating maybe the sort of hit and move from Usyk then, and just try and nab the rounds. They're going to be close rounds, I'm guessing. So that's sort of. But the more I think work.
Yeah, and I think he'll be banking on. I think he'll accept that he might lose some of the early rounds. I think, as he'll probably draw Fury into him, allow Fury to expend a bit of energy, accept that he might be 2, 3, 4 rounds down, quite early on, but then he'll back himself to have that fitness level, to have that intensity, to have that output to turn it in his favour. So, as we said earlier, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Fury has a lead early on. But when he gets that lead, he needs to do something with it, and he needs to sort of drive a stoppage. If he can't do that, I think Usyk works his way into the fight. And as I say, I think he, at the minute, today, ask me tomorrow, but I think he takes the win.
That could change. See, I'm the opposite. I'm going for a close Fury on points. So, but there's going to be some close rounds, maybe some debatable rounds.
Yeah,
with hard to score. One person may see it another way. Someone is different. But yeah, I can see it being a close fight. A lot of fans are saying, Fury's going to walk over Usyk, and I just don't see that, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I just don't see it. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people predict as well. So,
the great thing is, Steve, though, that there's so many different opinions out there, isn't it? We've got a true 50-50 fight here. And we'll probably all change our mind at some point during the course of the week when we see them on the scales, when we see how they react to the press conference. Just let's get to Saturday night and just let's get that bell rung.
Yeah, and just enjoy it. And it's the one, like I said, the start of the show, we've been waiting ages for this one. It's kind of holding up the division in a funny way, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Until we've had this fight, then other fights can be made after this fight. So we kind of need it as fans, and we need it for the heavyweight division to get moving as well.
Yeah.
Looking at the undercard, any fights on there? What catch your eye on the undercard there, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious one is the rematch between Opetaya and Breedis. That was a fantastic fight first time round, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've got to say. Yeah.
Brilliant. I do think this is a little bit different this time. I think Opetaya stops him, and I think he stops him within 6 rounds. I think he's just grown so much as a fighter since that surgery, since coming back. Breedis hasn't been particularly active. I think Opetaya walks through him. As I say, I don't think he does it early, really early, but I think certainly round 6, round 7, he gets a stoppage there. I think the other one obviously is Cordina and Anthony Kakachi. That's a really good domestic fight that could have sort of stood as, certainly probably stood as a main event in Wales. But certainly is adds to the undercard on this one.
Undercard, yeah. I agree with you. I think Opetaya is just he's evolved so much recently. Breedis has been very inactive.
Yeah.
I can only see a stoppage there. Maybe even, I know he's knocking guys out for fun at the moment. So maybe even a spectacular knockout there as well. But that's pretty much it for another show. Just want to say, Matt does some great work with your blog. Well worth a follow. Find him on thecounterpunch.co.uk. I'll put a link on the bottom of this video. So obviously check it out. Also, thanks, Matt, for your time on the show.
No problem.
I was going to say, obviously, anybody watching, please let us know your views, your predictions on the fight itself as well. Appreciate your time, Matt, and enjoy the fights on Saturday.
Yeah, you too, Steve. Thanks.
Thank you.